How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Drew Johnson. You can find both of us on X at Dalton_Trigg and at Coach Drew 33. I hope all of you are as fat and happy as we are post-Thanksgiving. It was incredible. We ate way too much food because we have so many things to go to, but it was great, and if you're like me, DJ, you probably don't have to actually go get food for the next several days because your refrigerator is jam-packed with stuff, leftovers from the food Super Bowl, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very happy for that because, there's nothing I like more, or there's few things that I like more than a leftover turkey sandwich that you just throw stuff on and you just make it work, and it's great. So
Thanksgiving turkey sandwich, to be specific. There's something different between actual turkey on a sandwich and that crap that you buy at the store that's like,
yes,
processed with nitrates and all that nonsense. No, real turkey is elite on a sandwich.
Torn apart, put on the sandwiches. There's something great about it.
Yep.
There's something great about, just overeating all that other stuff, and then it's like the simplicity of a sandwich afterwards when you're hungry, but you're still kind of sick from, forcing all that other. It's like, okay, well, a nice little sandwich will do. So it's great. I hope all of you listening had a great Thanksgiving holiday and recuperate for a few more weeks, and then Christmas will be here. So, so be sure to get your rest in. But anyway, the Mavs, they played in Utah tonight. The last time they played Utah, they got embarrassed. It was the low point of the season. I believe that was when they fell to 5-7. Well, now they've kind of, flipped the script. And their record is 12-8 now. So let's see, since that point, they've gone 7-1 since that embarrassing loss to Utah. And in Utah tonight, Saturday night, November 30th, the Mavs won 106-94. They got out to a blazing start. They won the first quarter 40-22. Threes were flying left and right, specifically Quentin Grimes out there looking like prime Klay Thompson with Klay Thompson out. He was outstanding. Now, at the box score, he started out 5 of 6 from 3. He ended up 5 of 11. So he missed his last 5 from deep, but he still ended up with 24 points and had 4 rebounds and 1 block on the night. And in 29 minutes, he was 9 of 16 from the field overall. So great game from Quentin Grimes. Kyrie Irving, he was fantastic. Had a team high 30 points, a team high plus 17 on the night, had 9 assists and 4 steals for Kyrie Irving. So, he was putting the clamps down defensively. And then one play specifically, and we'll talk about Dinwiddie a little bit later, and what he brought to the table, because he had 10 assists in this game tonight, but Kyrie Irving was killing Utah on cuts in this game. Just when you thought, they were inching back into the game, I think it got as close as maybe 5 or so in the fourth quarter. But then Kyrie Irving came back in the game and he'd hit a 3 or he'd cut to the basket and get a layup. And then, it righted the ship for Dallas. So I'm going to show this play specifically. All right, so not only does it show Kyrie Irving's elite cutting ability, but look at this pass by Dinwiddie. Look at this pass. Hold on. Let it show it from the beginning here. Whoop.
Perfect. Right on the money. Leads him perfectly. But I'm going to tell you what, Kyrie Irving, and you discussed this in our last pod after we beat New York. Kyrie Irving might be the most fundamentally sound player in the league. And he really showed that tonight, cutting off ball, playing off ball. He does a wonderful job of setting up his cuts. His little hesitations and just all the little herky-jerky movements that he does to set up his defender is just chef's kiss. Beautiful work. And this wasn't the only time he did this. Like, he did this several times. Like, I wish we could just have a highlight reel of his cuts, because he did an outstanding job. Textbook stuff. It was fantastic.
Yeah, he was great. I mean, this is what you see from a guy, especially with Luka out and he's having to take over, so to speak. And I mean, look, the Mavs, they were down Luka, they were down Klay Thompson. Najee Marshall didn't play in the second half because of an upper respiratory, or well, it said a respiratory illness. So
That's
I don't
upper
know.
respiratory infection is what they said.
Okay, yeah. So he only played 13 minutes, and he's been on a tear lately. He's been stringing together 20+ point games, for the last 4 or 5 games.
Mhm.
So that was a big loss. But the Mavs, as they've done with Luka being out, they found a way to win. So just going down the box score, I mentioned Dinwiddie. He had the 10 assists. He led the team in assists, and then Kyrie and Dinwiddie combining for 19 assists is crazy good. They combined for 7 steals too. Dinwiddie had 3 steals, so both of them were outstanding. Dinwiddie only shot 2 of 9 from the field, but he was a +7 on the night in 31 minutes. So
he finds other ways to help you win, and that's really what distinguishes him from other people in the rotation, like say Jaden Hardy, who whenever he's only good whenever he's scoring. And not to throw shade at Jaden Hardy, it's just so important for young players to understand that you have to bring more to the game than scoring.
yes,
It's so important.
And to Jaden Hardy's credit, he had a couple of good passes in this game, and then there were a couple times in that second half where let me see. Yeah, okay. So my eyes were correct. He had 2 steals in this game too. So there were a couple moments where he had some good plays, but offensively, Hardy was kind of a train wreck in this game. He was 1 of 7. He looked like if I tried to play an NBA game after Thanksgiving because there were no legs in his jumper. Everything was hitting front iron. He just couldn't get enough on it. And, I'm sure he'll get back in a groove and, have a bounce back game at some point here in the near future, but not a good game for Hardy in this one. Surprisingly, he was still a +1 in the box score plus minus because it felt like,
That's shocking.
And I mean, that's still, I guess that's not good when the Mavs had a 20-point lead at one point in this game. So that's probably why, it's not a negative. But anyway, so Hardy, he wasn't great, but double-digit scores in this game. PJ Washington, he had 16 points, and guess what? Another 10-rebound game for PJ. 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. Mr. Consistent, doing everything all around like he always does. Only shot 7 of 16 from the field, hit 2 of his 5 threes, but PJ, Mr. Swiss Army knife, does a little bit of everything. He had to pick it up with Najee Marshall out. That was great to see. Derek Lively. I forgot to mention this, but Najee Marshall didn't play in the second half, and then Derek Lively had to leave in the fourth quarter because he banged knees with Spencer Dinwiddie, I believe.
Got the worst of it. Yeah, they had to come back to the locker room.
Yeah, so hopefully that's nothing serious, but he did leave the game. He finished with 6 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks in 23 minutes as a starter. So
he had a sweet little turnaround jump hook earlier, though. It was fantastic. Really good stuff.
He looked very good while he was out there. And you've seen a lot of this lately. Guys, maybe they don't have eye-popping numbers, but I look at that Lively stat line in 23 minutes, 6 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. That's awesome. Like if you get several guys doing stuff like that, it adds up pretty quickly.
Well, as long as people are contributing and they're contributing in ways that, help win basketball games. I mean, I'm not really overly upset with low scoring numbers. I'm not. That'll take care of itself. Are we taking care of business on the glass? Are we taking care of the basketball? Those are the two main things that I'm looking at, because we can score the basketball. Oftentimes, our main enemy is our own selves. We'll either do poorly on the glass or we won't take care of the ball. Those are our 2 Achilles heels. So, as long as we're doing the little things and we have guys out there doing the little things, I mean, we'll win. So,
Yeah. And then as far as bench production in this game too, talking about doing the little things, they didn't get much from Maxi Kleba in 29 minutes. He was kind of forced into action, especially. I mean, I don't think he would have played that many minutes if Najee Marshall hadn't gone out and if Lively hadn't gone out. But, he ended up playing 29 minutes in this game, and he had 0 points, only took 1 shot, had 4 rebounds and 2 turnovers. He did have a steal and a block. But, he just – I don't know, man. I don't want to be too hard on Maxey, but he's such a negative offensively that even when he brings something to the table on defense, which is hit or miss these days, given his age and the wear and tear he's had over the years, I just don't think it's worth it. It comes back to what we've mentioned several times on this pod over the last several weeks. That's the Mavs' biggest roster flaw, if you want to call it that. They have to figure out a different solution for a backup 4 other than Maxi Kleba. And who knows? I mean, there was a report the other day that, the Nets have come down on their asking price for Dorian Finney-Smith. I think they were asking for 2 first-round picks last season. Now they're like, okay, well, we're asking for 1.
I still wouldn't do it, but
yeah, I was about to say I still don't think you give a first-round pick for a 30-plus-year-old wing that's going to be a unrestricted free agent in the offseason. So we'll see how that works out for Brooklyn. But man, if the Mavs could figure out a way to try and turn, like, say, Maxi Kleba and like throw in Jaden Hardy and his team-friendly contract extension that he just signed, instead of a first-round pick, you get a player that, many people have said if that draft that Hardy was in was a redraft, he would be a first-round pick. Yeah. Even though he has his flaws in that particular draft, he would be a first-round pick instead of going in the second round at number 37 like he did. So if the Mavs could do something like that, that would be fantastic. That would fix a lot of issues for this team. So that's I have to look at I haven't really gotten into all the trade stuff yet, but just off the top of my head talking about it, I think that's like one of the top tier things I'm looking at for the Mavs to see if they can pull something. We've seen Nico do stuff before that we didn't think would happen. So, maybe he can sweet talk and, do like a Kleba plus Hardy, or, maybe Kleba plus a couple of second-round picks or something like that. So, because I'll be honest with you, DJ, I know it's been very limited minutes, but from, what I've seen from Jazzy and Gortman, I think he could take over what they're trying to do, the position they're trying to do with Hardy. I think the shot is there for Gortman. And, defensively, he stays active. I haven't seen much of him trying to, typically when he's in there, he's just hunting his shot. So I don't know what he could potentially do as a playmaker. If I remember correctly, I think he really struggled in that department in Summer League when we were there watching him do that. But the guy has a trigger. I mean, he can put the ball in the basket. And I think if you have to part with Hardy in that team-friendly contract that you just signed him to, and it can net you a backup 4, you have to do it if you're the Mavs. But going down a rabbit hole here, obviously, so we're gonna we're gonna get back on track. But just quickly, I mean, what do you think about the Dorian idea?
I would love Dorian, but what we need to be looking for, just in general, is just production. I mean, what you'd be giving up as someone who is pretty much in Kleber. You would be giving up someone who's effectively a lame duck on offense, and then you'd be giving up inconsistency with Hardy. So, if we could just find someone who could steadily produce in whatever position they're in, that would be preferable. But I'm going to tell you what, you could probably get some value from the Brooklyn Nets, because I read a report today where everyone's for sale. So that tells me that we may be able to get a deal on something. So I'm sure Nico's way ahead of us in this line of thought. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if those two are not gone by the time trade deadline rolls around.
Jeremy Grant's another name that
Ooh.
I like, but I feel like his price tag is too high. I don't think doing Maxey plus Hardy is enough to make that work, as much as I would love for it to work. So I don't know. What do you think about Rui Hachimura?
I love Rui. I think Rui has tremendous upside. Unfortunately, I think that the Lakers are going to ask for too much.
Obviously, because they're desperate.
Exactly. They're going to ask for way too much for Rui. But it would be a dream-like scenario if we could get Rui. I think he could help us out a lot. I really do. Very skilled, super duper athletic. We saw what he was really capable of offensively in the Olympics this year. And I think he's got more to him than a lot of people know. So I think that he would be really good in what we run, and he would just be another long, athletic forward that can play both ends of the floor pretty effectively. And I think that going somewhere like Dallas, going to a contender, would breathe immediate life into him. Personally, he's still young. He's still got a lot left in those legs. So no, I would love that idea.
And then, obviously, if you wanted to try an in-house fix, you could, if you're Jason Kidd, just try to give Omax some minutes. It doesn't have to be a lot, but I mean, I get it. He's tried this before and it didn't work out, so he was banished to the bench again because he didn't look like he was ready. Just let him play through it. I mean, Maxey is giving you so much of a big nothing on offense. I don't see how it would hurt to give Omax some run. And in that way, I mean, even if he does give you nothing on the offensive end, he's still going to be active on defense. He's going to make some plays. I mean, he's too athletic not to. So, I mean, I would let him play through it because you're letting Maxey play through it, and he's not giving you much. But it's not really helping you long-term to let Maxey do that. You let Omax do that. He plays through the bumps and the bruises, and he learns from it, and he gets valuable experience, and then he potentially turns into a very high-quality role player for you going forward. So that would be an option for Kidd. And I know people are going to listen to this, and they're going to say, no, you can't. A contending team can't be giving minutes to a second-year forward like Omax, who clearly isn't ready. I disagree. I think this team is good enough. I think they're good enough to do it. I think they have enough around him, and we've seen the Mavs winning despite, what Maxey gives most nights. I don't see any problem with it. What do you think?
Omax's biggest issue is the offense just isn't translating yet. He isn't finishing at the rim. He isn't able to hit shots. And the only way that gets any better is through getting in-game reps, like you're saying. So, I don't hate that idea at all.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. I mean, what do you have to lose? It's not like he's going to cost you a game. I mean, Maxey hasn't cost us a game. Jaden Hardy hasn't cost us a game yet. So why would Omax? So I like the idea personally, and I do think that the upside is there. I don't think he is there yet. You know what I'm saying? And but I do think that the only way we really get there is by giving him some extra run.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, look at Dorian, for example.
Yep.
When the Mavs got him, he was what, like 3 years older than what Omax is right now as an undrafted free agent. And the only reason that Dorian is what he is today is because the Mavs, when they signed him, they weren't a good team. So they were just, playing whoever they could get, however many minutes. And Rick Carlisle threw Dorian into the fire. And there were, several nights he was playing 25 plus minutes from the very beginning. So he got a ton of experience. And then by the time the Mavs, climbed that mountain and made it to title contender and they had Luka in place and everything, it's like, oh, okay, well, Dorian has turned into a really effective role player. And it's because he got all that experience. He got to go through that. So, I'm not saying that Omax is going to go through the same stuff that Dorian did, but it would be nice to see him just get a little bit more exposure instead of just throwing, like tonight, he got thrown in there for like the last 2 minutes. And I mean, that didn't really show anything,
I would have liked to have seen him absorb some of those minutes that were granted to Maxey.
Right.
But there was just no production.
Like instead of
any worse. So
yeah, I mean, like instead of 30 minutes for Maxey in this particular situation, especially with Najee going out, why not play Maxey 20 minutes and Omax 10 and just see what happens?
if Omax does well up at the 15, keep him in there, keep him running.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the Mavs still win this particular game tonight regardless. So,
and if Omax can get some shots to fall, then we're having a completely different discussion. My biggest qualm with Omax is he's a big nothing burger on offense right now.
Yeah.
But
he's got to figure that out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same problem that Kleba has, where he's indecisive. Quentin Grimes, he has no fear. He will shoot any shot that's open, especially when he's hot, like he was tonight. Now,
Quentin Grimes has tunnel vision. Quentin Grimes didn't see freaking Derek Lively, 3 paces ahead of him.
He was feeling himself a little bit, but I couldn't really blame him.
That pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. That aggravated me a little bit. That was a little selfish, but whatever. He had 24 points. Good for him.
Yeah. He'll learn from it. He's still a young player, and he was really feeling himself to start that game. Like I said, he started like 5 of 6 from 3. I'm sure Utah was just like, who is this guy? But anyway. All right, look, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of this, we're going to talk about Daniel Gafford, who was incredible yet again off the bench. And then we're going to look ahead to what's next for the Mavs, because we have a back-to-back coming up in Portland. But first, we're going to pay a few bills. What's up, y'all? We're taking a quick break to tell you about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. Want to play PrizePicks alongside Drewski, Joe Budden, and MMA champ Sugar Sean O'Malley? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code STEPBACK to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code STEPBACK on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game.
I'm about to throw this cat out of this house. I swear to God.
That cat's been giving you a lot of issues tonight. Mavs cat, that is.
Freaking no, it's about to be ex-Mavs cat. It's about to be outside cat.
Oh man, before we talk about Gafford, I have to bring this up. Look, I know we watch every Mavs game. I know we love covering this team, love talking about this team. But man, how great is college football right now? How great is? I mean, it's
a shit show. Like as far as like
who's going to get in?
Parity is concerned, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
Look, I know people have bad things to say about the NIL stuff, and I have been one of those people because being a fan of a school, graduated from a school like Southern Miss, a smaller Division I school, they suffer from it, because they just don't have the money to compete anymore. But man, at the top of college football, it's made a huge difference. And I mean, there's been as much parity this year as there's ever been, and what a year for that to happen since they expanded the playoffs to 12 teams instead of 4. So that's going to be outstanding.
Tournament-esque. It's very it feels like March Madness a little bit, in that regard.
It'll be interesting to see who that 12th team is getting in there. I personally think it's going to be South Carolina because they're scorching hot. They've won 7 consecutive games, and 6 of those were SEC games, to end their season. So we'll see how it goes. But there's a lot to hash out for them. But anyway, back to your regularly scheduled programming. We got to talk about Daniel Gafford because the man has been outstanding this entire season. He's leading the league in field goal percentage. Coming into this game tonight, he was a little over 72%, and he went a perfect 6 of 6 in this game. So that percentage went up a little bit. In just 24 minutes off the bench, he had 14 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. And again, he was a perfect 6 of 6 shooting, hit 2 of his 3 free throws, and was a plus 11. That is a very productive 24 minutes from your backup big. It's unbelievable.
No matter if it's Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively coming off the bench, we have the best backup center in the league. I firmly believe that. No one's getting that kind of production off the bench. Nobody. So
it's such a great luxury.
Oh my gosh. And he was outstanding tonight. I think he's gotten a little stronger as the season's gone on because he's not once he has the ball in his hands, he's chinning that thing, he's squeezing the orange, you're not getting out, and he makes great decisions. I think he's an underrated passer, honestly. There was a pass from the top of the key. I'm pretty sure it was a Kyrie Irving cut. Where he was able to hit Kyrie Irving on one of his cuts from the top of the key. Outstanding pass for a big man.
Yeah.
You just can't say enough about him. He does just a really good job on the glass, really good job defensively. Again, there's no big man coming off the bench that gives you the production that Gaff gives you.
I wish I had the knowledge of how to look something up like this, but I feel like every time Gafford or Lively, they'll go up and get an offensive rebound and then they'll kick it back out to a 3-point shooter. I feel like the Mavs shooting percentage on those specific shots is really high.
Well, they're usually open. They're wide open. The best time to shoot a 3-pointer is off of an offensive rebound. And both Gafford and Lively do a really good job of finding the open man on the perimeter. I'm pretty sure both of them did it several times tonight. I'm thinking of one play in particular where Derek Lively got an offensive rebound and kicked it out to I want to say
Grimes, I think.
I want to say it was Grimes at the top of the
Kyrie.
key. No, I think it was Grimes at the top of the key. Found him at the top of the key and he knocked it down. May have been that. Was it the 4-point play?
Yes, it was. Yeah, that's right.
I have a bad habit of having plays getting gelled together in my head, so you'll have
no. I remember that vividly now. That's correct.
But that's just one example. And they do it night in and night out. So it's really a luxury whenever you have post players that play with thought, because usually people are just wanting to throw it down people's throats.
Right.
That's not the case with these two guys. They're actually cerebral players. Gafford has especially become better in that regard. Lively's always been pretty cerebral. Gafford's gotten better as time has gone on. So, again, you're not going to find a better 1-2 punch in the post. I really don't think so.
A lot of times when, we've pretty much covered everything from this game from individual Mavs players, but, a lot of times when it's like, okay, well, how did the team win? You can just kind of look at the team stats and compare, and you say, oh, okay, well, that's what happened. Well, the Utah Jazz in this game, they scored 94 points. They shot 35.8% from the field. They shot 23.1% from 3.
Oof.
And they had, they had 15 turnovers, which the Mavs did too, so that canceled out. But man, that's pretty rough. Under 40% overall shooting, under 30% shooting from three, and then having 15 turnovers too. That's rough. But credit to the Mavs defense, because they have just been smothering people here lately. We saw it at the beginning of that Knicks game, and then they kind of let their foot off the gas a little bit towards the end of it, and gave up some more points. But this team has been playing outstanding, elite, championship contending level defense, and I hope that Luka doesn't rush back. I'm to the point where this little run the Mavs have made without Luka has been cute. It's been great. This is like the best case scenario you could have asked for. With Luka being out, the team winning and gelling, and these role players finding their shots and everything. But I'm ready for him to come back. But I hope when he comes back, he is 100% right, because this defensive intensity, this level of intensity that the Mavs have shown, it's got to keep up. And he can't be the weak link, that stops playing because he lost his man, or because he's complaining about a foul that he didn't get on the other end and the other team scores in transition. He's going to have to be on top of it, DJ. Because as good as Luka is, he can't come back and kill the vibe that this team is currently, the hard-nosed, gritty vibes that this team has been giving off. So that's my hope. Luka's going to be Luka. I think he's going to do it, because we've seen it. We've seen him flip that switch in years past, and I believe in him. I think he's going to do it. But that's my hope. That's my hope, that this is the flip switching moment for him.
It's not like he's not capable. I'm sorry, but it's not like he's not capable.
He is capable, fully capable.
He was he had a top 25 defensive rating last year. He's beyond capable. We have literal numerical proof, statistical proof. He's beyond capable. I don't know what the hell's happened up till now. And really, I say that with a grain of salt, because there have been moments where he's been really good defensively. There was one.
Health has a lot to do with it.
I agree. But I mean, there was one. I want to say it was against the Pelicans. I know the Pelicans were hot, steaming butthole whenever we played them. But he started off the game with like 3 or 4 stocks, which is, I mean, talk about silencing the haters. You start off a game with those types of defensive possessions. You showcase why you have a top 25 defensive rating. Yeah. But his issue is he has to stay engaged on that side of the court 24/7. He can't let up.
It's a focus thing.
Yeah.
And you can't fully focus on playing your best defensive game if part of your focus is going towards an official that didn't make a foul call for you or something like that. So if he just plays the game and doesn't work, as soon as, like, say he goes up for a layup or something, he misses it, he thought he got fouled, it didn't get called, forget about it. Immediately watch it, get your ass back on defense, and, just reset it. Go possession by possession and just play your best basketball, and the rest will take care of itself. I'm not worried about Luka at all, and I fully believe he's going to flip that switch. But we did not see that from Luka in the first 10 or so games, however many it was before he got hurt. And now we're 20 games into the season. The Mavs have turned things around without him, and they're 12-8. So, he needs to come back and give the correct attention to detail and effort that will enable this team to keep stacking together wins. I'm looking at the schedule right now, and obviously tomorrow is the second night of a back-to-back. There's been some speculation, not from any reporters or anything, but just, in the group. Yeah. Us and some people we talked to. But
we are speculating.
What's that?
We are speculating.
Yeah, we are speculating that, because Luka's on the trip, and he seems like, he was listed as doubtful on the injury report for this game, but he's on the trip. He was looking good in his sweat, sitting on the sideline. And tomorrow's the second night of a back-to-back in Portland, which, is a pretty good team to bring Luka back against if he's ready. So he might be playing in Portland tomorrow night. And I think that would be great to give him a little warm-up in Portland before Tuesday's game comes up against the Memphis Grizzlies. And if the Mavs win that game against Memphis, they're pretty much a lock for that final wild card spot in the NBA Cup, in the the in-season tournament stuff. So we'll see how it goes. I think Luka's probably going to return in Portland tomorrow night, and if not, I think he'll definitely return against Memphis. But I think it would be better to let him ease in against a lesser opponent in Portland than going against Memphis, who's a top 10 offense and defense so far this season. By the way, the Mavs are one of only 5 teams to be top 5 in both offense and defensive rating so far this team. Let's see if I can remember. It was the Celtics, the Thunder, the Grizzlies, the Mavs, and there was one other team that I'm not thinking of. It was another Western Conference team.
Nuggets?
Huh?
Was it the Nuggets?
No, it was the Warriors. It was the Warriors.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So Warriors, Mavs, Grizzlies, Celtics, and another West team that I forgot again. So OKC is the other one. So they're playing good ball. And look, if they can get past Memphis on Tuesday, look at this schedule coming up: at Portland tomorrow night, then Memphis at home. Then you go on the road for 2, Washington, who didn't win a game in all of November. They went 0-14 in November.
No win November.
And then at Toronto, that's a very winnable game. And then you have 2 home games back to back against the Clippers, which I personally think is winnable. Knowing the Mavs' luck, Kawhi Leonard will come back for those games, but I don't know. He may be cooked.
I think he's that. I will say this about Toronto, though. Have you seen their City Edition uniforms?
Oh, they're so good.
Those are so sick.
They're so good. And then the Raptor and the purple on the court, too.
Oh, so good.
It's so great. It makes me mad that the Mavs don't. I know that they supposedly only do the retro stuff like once every 5 years like that, but I think that's stupid. They need to have it a part of the regular rotation. That Mavs court with the old school green logo and the cowboy hat and everything on the court, those are so good. Like,
dude, the green uniforms are so good.
Yeah, it needs to be a part of the regular rotation. We've been saying this for years, but nobody cares to listen to us. So,
Yeah. What do we know?
It is what it is. But
I personally think that our current design is a little lazy. We just whited out last year's design. That kind of aggravates me. That grinds my gears. So.
Right. Yeah, the blackout uniforms that the Mavs had such a good record in, especially in the postseason, they just made them white. So,
pisses me off. We could have done so much more.
West standings watch-wise, with everything that happened tonight and around the league, the Mavs are now 5th in the West. It wasn't too long ago after that loss to Utah before the Mavs won, 7 of their last 8 games now. And we talked about this. I think they were down to 11th or 12th in the West. And we said, just if they have another good week or 2 of basketball, they would climb their way up. So they are now 5th in the West. They are 3.5 games back of the top seed in the West, and they're only 1 game behind the Memphis Grizzlies, and they have Portland tomorrow night and then a head-to-head with Memphis on Tuesday. So, and then the Warriors, they lost DeAnthony Melton, and they've been feeling that loss pretty good. So it is very feasible, DJ, that by the end of Tuesday night, if things go the Mavs' way, they could be as high as 3rd in the West, and possibly in a tie with Houston for 2nd. So, we'll see how all the basketball games fall between now and then. But things are trending upward. Who
would have thought that Houston would be 2nd in the West? I didn't have that on my bingo card.
I knew they'd be better than they were last year, but I certainly didn't think they'd be, getting off to this hot of a start.
No.
But
We'll see how that.
There's a lot of green on this Mavs schedule, and I hope that continues. And it looks like it can, all the way up to Christmas. And then we know how, Luka likes to play on Christmas, and he's playing against his favorite punching bag in Rudy Gobert on Christmas Day. So that'll be that'll be something for us to take in at 1:30 p.m. Central Time.
It'd be a great Christmas present if we would just obliterate Gobert. I hate Gobert, so
there's a lot of people that feel the same way. So
I'm with y'all.
But guys, look, we appreciate y'all coming in and listening to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. That's going to do it for this episode. If everything goes according to plan, we'll be right back here tomorrow night to talk about Mavs Blazers. Let's see what time does that game start, DJ? Oh wait, it says 8 p.m. Central. Oh yeah. We'll come back on here and do another one. So we will see y'all in about 24 hours. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, guys.